there? I think we need to change the way we work in 3 ways. Number 1, a new emphasis on operating support. At least 1/3 of our funding needs to go to general operating support. Foundations have stimulated a lot of new programming and experimentation by directing their funding to specific projects, many of them new or created to attract a funder's resources. We hoped that other funders could sustain those projects once our seed money was exhausted. My friends, the math no longer works. These are days that require us to consolidate efforts, not expand into new arenas. Not-for-profits need us to be good partners. You as funders have every right to demand that they're pursuing their goals with efficiency. You have every right to demand evidence that they're effective. And they have every right to expect that after demonstrating those 2 things, you will trust them to do the work. If they're to weather this storm, they'll need your help with general operating support. If you want to serve on the board and help shape policy, that's terrific. If not, get out of the way and let them get to work. Number 2, collaboration and cooperation. We need to cooperate in the way we do grant making by using common applications and making reports and program evaluations available to our peers. We need to be able to make hard decisions about what we'll no longer fund, and we need to be able to give up on our own pet projects in order to dedicate our resources to those projects that multiple funders can get behind. Projects that address the above core priority areas and have the ability to be taken to scale. This will involve sacrifice. But just looking at last year's allocation and giving 70% of that across the board will not bring us closer to our goal. Collaboration will mean diluting our ideas with those of our fellow funders. It will mean compromise. It will mean making room for visions that are a little different than our own. It will also mean, though, a better financed Jewish community with less replication, less waste, and fewer bad ideas that have not met the scrutiny of our peers. It means saying no and saying yes in a very different way. And finally, number 3, rewarding good behavior. While we should not prescribe what not-for-profits must do, we can collectively work to help them be more efficient in these days of scarce dollars. We need to develop mechanisms to help not-for-profits who are willing to share costs and resources. We need to provide expertise and capital to not-for-profits who want to investigate the possibility of merging all or part of their operations. We need to look for opportunities to create that rising tide that lifts all ships. If grant making will not be sufficient over the next several years, we need to be smarter and more creative about the way we use money. This is not a new approach. The biblical imperative to give to the poor comes from the book of Devarim, where God says, if there will be a poor person among you, do not harden your heart. Rather, open your hand to him and lend him what he needs. The Bible and later Maimonides understood that cash gifts are not the only or best way to be of help. So that's my vision, a community dedicated to Jewish literacy, peoplehood, and service. Funders committed to increasing operating support, working collaboratively, and rewarding good behavior. And our role at JFN? We're here as the conveners and the enablers. We pledge to give you every support you need in order to succeed. Just in those dark days after the Madoff scandal broke, we'll be here to bring together a coalition of the willing, engage in thoughtful planning, and move the ball down the field. We can do it, but only if you let us know you are with us. I'm not under the impression that the vision I've articulated is the only way to go. I welcome, no, I urge debate, but no is not an option. Business as usual with 30% less money is not a plan. I'm happy to explore alternatives, but you'll need to put those alternatives on the table. You'll need to show up for the debate. Let's talk here at the conference, or afterwards by phone, in person or online. But tell me what you're prepared to do, because this is a time that requires action. In your hands, my dissatisfied fellow countrymen, said Lincoln, and not in mine, is the momentous issue of civil war. Our challenges are not the challenges that face President Lincoln, thank God, but they're real, and they're in your hands to deal with. While we can't overcome these challenges ourselves, we can most certainly overcome them together. I don't expect everyone to leave this room rip up their funding plans for the next year, and commit to the principles I've outlined. That's okay. We don't need a consensus, and we certainly don't need unanimity. As Arlo Guthrie would say, if I walk away alone, well, they may think I'm crazy. But if there are 3 of us committed to this, can you imagine 3 of us committed to a common vision? They may think it's an organization. And can you imagine 50 funders, 50 people, committed to a common vision for the Jewish people and dedicated to putting their time and treasure behind it? Well, my friends, they may think it's a movement. Thank you.